All right, let's get right into this. We've gotten our hands on a whole bunch of internal documents from a South African tech company called IntelliAI. Now, at first glance, they look like your typical dense corporate manuals, but when you start piecing them together, something else emerges. A single, frankly, incredibly ambitious vision. So in this explainer, we're going to decode that blueprint together.
And this is where it all kicks off. This is the very first line from a log file we found buried deep inside all that documentation. There's no context, no explanation, just this really cryptic, almost kind of alarming message about something called the Omega model. And right away, you have to ask, what on earth is this?
And trust me, it gets weirder. The rest of the log is just filled with these technical specs that sound like they were ripped straight out of a science fiction movie. I mean, we're talking about a quantum neural matrix and chronosync arrays, and their status is hyperstable. Now, to be clear, these aren't real established technologies. This is the kind of language you'd expect in a Hollywood blockbuster, not some corporate paper. And then you get this gem, a direct quote from the log, claiming that over 7% of the company's AI is in non-causal time loops. It's just a bizarre, head-scratching statement that makes you wonder if you're reading a business plan or some kind of prophecy. So, this is the central mystery we're going to try and solve. What exactly is this Omega model? Is it a real piece of tech? A code name for some secret project? And how in the world does it connect to the very real, very grounded business of this South African AI company? To get the answer, we can't start in the future. We have to start right here, on the ground. So, how do we even begin to untangle this? Well, to understand the abstract, you've got to start with the concrete. And hidden deep within these manuals, we found a plan for a massive graphite mining operation that actually gives us the perfect way to understand how this company thinks. Just look at the discipline here. It's this incredibly detailed 4-phase process. You start with surveys that don't even touch the ground. Then you go out and physically confirm what you found. After that, you drill down to define exactly what you have. And finally, you get the whole thing independently verified. Every single step is logical, it's data-driven, and it's all designed to minimize risk. And the whole system hangs on this one idea, the go/no-go gates. What this means is the money for the next phase, it isn't guaranteed. It only gets unlocked if the current phase hits very specific, measurable targets. This isn't about wishful thinking. It's a system built on ruthless financial discipline. You either hit your numbers or the whole project gets a second look. And this sentence just nails the objective. The goal isn't just to find graphite. It's to create a bankable, JORC-compliant ore reserve. Now, that's a globally recognized certification that proves you have a real-world, tangible asset that a bank will actually lend money against. Remember all that sci-fi language? Well, this is the polar opposite. This is as real as it gets. Okay, so we've got this highly disciplined process for building real value. Now let's look at the brains of the operation. How does IntelliAI take that same kind of rigor and apply it to building its core AI technologies? You see, the manuals show they're not just using one kind of AI. They're using a whole suite of different tools. There's machine learning for finding patterns, natural language processing to understand documents, robotic process automation, or RPA, to handle all the boring, repetitive tasks, and so on. It's a full toolkit designed to attack complex business problems from every possible angle. And they break it all down so clearly. Take machine learning. In their tax manual, of all places, they explain the difference between supervised learning, that's where you train the AI on data that's already labeled, like telling it which transactions are taxable, and unsupervised learning, where you just give it a ton of unlabeled data and tell it to find the hidden patterns, like grouping taxpayers by risk. It's all about using the right tool for the right job. This quote from their manual really sums it up perfectly. They see AI not as some magical black box, but as a collection of specialized tools. And that perspective is so important. It shows they have a deep, practical understanding of how to actually build and deploy these systems in a way that works. So we've seen the disciplined process, and we've seen the sophisticated tech, but does any of it actually work? Let's take a look at a real-world case study from their MindSafe division. So here's the before picture. This is the situation at a platinum mine in Rustenburg, South Africa, before IntelliAI showed up. An average of 14 safety-related incidents every single year. Now, after they deployed their predictive safety system, which uses sensors and AI to detect hazards like rockfalls before they happen, that number dropped to just 2 incidents per year. That is a jaw-dropping 85% reduction in injuries.
And the impact went way beyond just safety. That huge drop in incidents translated into 28 million rand in annual cost savings for the mine, all thanks to less downtime and better productivity. This is the tangible, bankable result of their whole approach.
And you can see this focus reflected in how they actually plan to spend their money. This chart here shows their seed funding allocation. A massive 40%, the biggest chunk by far, is dedicated to core product development. That's all the R&D, the AI model training, the hardware. They are absolutely doubling down on building the core technology. Okay, so let's bring it all together. We have the disciplined plan, we have the powerful AI, and we have the real-world results. Now we can finally go back to that bizarre log file and understand what it really means. And this is where it all just clicks. Look at this direct comparison. The Omega log says, dimensional fraying detected. The Master Manual's executive summary says, regulatory uncertainties need to be addressed. It's the exact same problem, just expressed in 2 completely different languages. One is corporate speak, the other is, well, it's cosmic. And this is the core insight. The Omega log isn't a technical schematic for a time machine, it's a translation. The Master Manual, that's the grounded, step-by-step, data-driven blueprint for transforming industries today. The Omega model is the name for the ultimate destination of that blueprint, an end state so powerful and so transformative that it demands a whole different kind of language to even begin to imagine it. So, in the end, the Omega log isn't literal, it's poetry. It's what happens when a company's vision for the future is so vast, so all-encompassing, that the normal language of business plans and financial projections, it just isn't enough to capture the scale of it. It's a statement about the limits of our vocabulary to describe truly profound systemic change, which leaves us with one final question to think about. When a plan is this ambitious, what language is left but science fiction?